When you see people who have manifested their dream life, their dream home, their dream business, how do you feel? If you believe it's possible for them, but it is not possible for you, then I want to invite you to challenge that belief, because it is totally possible for you to call in a more expansive, aligned, and prosperous reality. In this video, I'm going to share with you two extremely powerful foundations of manifestation to help you anchor it in much more firmly from today. The first foundation of manifesting is to love yourself enough to do this. I remember hearing this in a Joe Dispenza meditation years ago, sitting quietly, attuning to the energy centers, and he says, come on, love yourself enough to do this. And it's really stayed with me, because aligning with your soul's highest expression and really calling forward what it is you know you have the potential to create is an act of self-love. Being attached to the memories of the past, being limited by the old patterns, isn't as loving a choice as deciding, I claim a new future for myself. I choose to inhabit a new identity and to align with a frequency that matches my soul's highest expression. So we get to choose, you get to choose, I get to choose love as the foundation for manifestation. And this is not only important in terms of initiating a new project, a new business, a new relationship, it's also vital for carrying you through the whole experience. Because the truth is, when you are birthing something new, when you are exploring a growth edge, when you're making these stretchy moves, you are going to be triggered. You are going to find yourself being challenged. You will face stumbling blocks. Now, this is not to dismiss the ease with which you can manifest. It's simply to recognize that in this 3D reality, we face obstacles. But when we choose to love ourselves enough to do this, we then get to meet those challenges with a different kind of energy. Often we can get into that second arrow kind of issue. When something comes up, we're not only frustrated or suffering because of what's come up, but also with how we are reacting to that thing. So with the self-love choice and the commitment, you get to send yourself compassion when you find yourself making a mistake, when you find yourself not showing up in the way that you had hoped you would, and when you find yourself beating yourself up for those things as well. So it's incredibly potent and powerful to tap into this choice. I want you to make this choice right now in this moment. I love myself enough to do this. Just say it with me now, because it is a decision. But you might be thinking, okay, well, how do I actually do that? For me, one of the most powerful embodiments of this choice has been to prioritize the things that really matter to me on the deepest level. So every morning, for probably about 2 hours, I spend time attending to my spiritual needs, in meditation, in my yoga practice, communing with my crystals, walking in nature, chanting. But what happens when you prioritize these things that matter most deeply on the soul level is that everything else in the day then starts to flow from that place. And it's also in its place in relation to the soul's highest expression. So that has been incredibly powerful for me in prioritizing myself and what I deeply want beyond any material expression. The other thing is to shed the past, like the serpent sheds her skin. And over the last number of years, I've been exploring all sorts of ways of breaking free from my karmic imprints, from my inner child wounds, from my limiting beliefs, from subconscious patterns, from energy blocks. And I've been exploring that in lots of different ways, whether that be through crystal healing or in my Akashic records or through transformational coaching or whatever. As we shed layers and layers of patterning, of imprints, we start clearing out our whole energy field and coming into more alignment with that light of the soul that wants to shine through without the mess, without the imagery, without the filters that we don't necessarily want to be there. So I feel like this process of loving yourself enough to do this involves, yes, shedding the past, clearing the blocks, clearing the wounds, healing those memories, and loving the present by prioritizing yourself and what matters the most on that deepest level. And then daring to dream a new future into being, daring to declare that you are worthy of that right here and right now. The second foundation of manifesting is to anchor in the beliefs that help you become unshakable, unwavering, steadfast. So you become like that rock in a river. So no matter what the waters are doing, flowing over and around this rock, it is there, it is steady, it is anchored. For me, having 4 of these beliefs is particularly potent because I literally see them as being like pillars or anchors in the 4 corners of my reality, of my imaginal space. And it just so happens that in sacred geometry, the cube, like the square, is a very stabilizing shape. So I like to imagine these 4 beliefs that I'm now going to share spatially around me, creating this stable energy field. So the first one is the universe has always got my back. It took me quite a long time and quite a significant shift to even see the universe as a conscious, animated force. I grew up in a very atheist environment and I was pretty much a sort of materialist, scientific rationalist. And I had no kind of understanding of universal consciousness as something that even existed, let alone something that was supporting me. However, over time, through my spiritual awakening and through a process of really questioning, in the deepest sense, what do I believe about the universe? I came to understand, believe, and ultimately know that the universe is a conscious, living being with whom I am in a co-creative relationship. And not only that, but this living entity wants me to succeed. They are always there supporting me. And when I tune into the magnitude of the universe and connect that sense of magnitude with the belief that it is supporting me, I feel a steadiness, a certainty, and a security that is pretty much unshakable. I've cultivated this belief and this knowing over time, but it is absolutely one of the 4 corners of my anchoring manifestation beliefs. The second one is that everything happens in divine timing. And the reason why this is so powerful as an anchoring belief is because we can get so frustrated with how fast or apparently slow things are happening, can't we? When we're trying to call something in, if it doesn't feel like it's going quick enough, if we feel like we're doing everything but we're not seeing the results, we can get disheartened, we can get frustrated, we can start questioning all the time whether we're doing something wrong. And yet when you anchor in this belief that everything is happening in divine timing, you can relax, you can start to enjoy the present moment more, and you can trust that there's a reason why things are happening exactly in the way that they are. Maybe you're not ready for the thing that you think you want. Maybe you don't really want the thing that you think you want. Or maybe you're just being offered some space and time to integrate whatever it is that needs to be integrated, helping you prepare for what's coming. So it's helpful as a balm when those frustrations of I want it to happen quicker come up, to lean back, relax into everything happens in divine timing. And often when you look back on the way things unfolded, you recognize if that had happened sooner, I wouldn't have experienced this new thing. Like if I'd have left my marriage 5 years earlier, I wouldn't have met my incredible, amazing soul, cosmic partner that I have now. So it is something that I firmly believe and know to be true within myself. The third one is everything is working out in my favor. Again, this is such a comfort, especially in times where things feel misaligned, frustrating, it's not working out how you want, you're disappointed, whatever it is. Because when you tune into this belief, everything's working out in my favor, it applies even to the things that seem to the logical mind to be negative. So maybe you didn't get the job you wanted, or maybe you didn't get the date that you wanted, or whatever it is. Knowing everything's working out in my favor opens you out to the possibility that there might be something better. There might be an incredibly potent reason why that didn't happen for you. And everything is working out in my favor means that the ultimate outcome is going to be for your highest good. And what's incredible is I feel this is one of those beliefs where the more you believe it, I mean, this is true for them all, right? But there's something about this where the more you internalize everything's working out for my favor, is the stronger and stronger it gets. One caveat here is this is not about bypassing or minimizing grief and suffering when circumstances are extreme. Okay, you cannot always expect yourself or anyone else to waft through a loss or a trauma or an acute illness or something with the sticking plaster of everything is working out in my favor. So let it be clear that from my point of view, I'm sensitive to that, and I'm inviting you to take from this what makes sense. And of course, if there are situations that feel more acute or that are more acute, then this might not be the lens that is most helpful to apply in that particular moment. The fourth belief is simply, I am the co-creator of my reality. It sounds so obvious, and we say this all the time in the manifestation world, but it is actually incredibly important to really consciously acknowledge this. I used to have more of a sense that things were just happening to me and I was just sort of passing through passively. But when I started to realize there are so many ways in which I get to bend reality, life became not only more fun and more magical and more kind of sprinkled with fairy dust, but also I got to be much more autonomous about what it is that I am creating, what it is that I'm doing. So whether that be the way in which you reframe a certain situation, angling it in a more positive light, whether that be you choosing to own a new identity, choosing to love yourself enough to do this, whether it be just simply recognizing your own power and your own agency and coming back to that sense of authority and autonomy, leaning into this belief, I am the conscious co-creator of my reality. It's foundational. It's so important. For me, these two foundational practices have been so potent in anchoring in my ability to manifest, to choose for myself a path that feels aligned with my soul's highest expression. I knew that I was here for a higher purpose than the timeline I had found myself in. I had to make a conscious choice. I am going to face my fears head on. I'm going to step into the unknown. I'm going to manifest something different from myself. And these are the foundations that have sort of emerged and become apparent to me, and that I feel I have embodied over this journey. So I hope they help you to anchor in this trust. It is not only possible for other people, it is possible for you as well. If there's any part of you that looks at someone who's manifested something incredible and thinks there's a reason why they could do it, and there's a reason why I couldn't do it, I want you to start letting that go. I want you to make a choice today to love yourself enough to do this. You get to create your reality from this moment on. Let the past go. Let yourself claim a new identity and use these foundations to anchor you in, create stability, and be excited about what is coming. If you want to work with me more in depth, one-to-one, I'll leave a link in the description to my one-to-one coaching program. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next video.